Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
My name is Austin Calabaza. I'm the Community Outreach Liaison for the Better Business Bureau serving New Mexico and Southwest Colorado. And with me, we have Monica Pulling. She is our guest speaker today for our Wednesday webinar today. We're going to be focusing on artificial intelligence. Monica is an AI expert based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is also in partnership with Southwest Community Empowerment Foundation. We have Fiona Ratzoff, who is one of the board members for SWCEO. That is our C3 arm of the Better Business Bureau. This is also in partnership with New Mexico State University Global Campus. With that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Monica, who can tell you a little bit more about herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm not sure how many of you were at my event with the Better Business Bureau about a month ago. So I tried to make this a little bit different so that you're not hearing the same thing, but the start is going to be a little bit of overlap, and then we'll dive into new items. And also, definitely, if you have questions, just jump in, raise your hand, let me know, because I want to make sure that this is really, so many people, so many different places with AI. I want to make sure this is helpful to you and not just kind of listening to me pontificate about what I think is important. And I just lost my presentation. I don't know what I did. Austin, are you able to, do you see my presentation, Fiona?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Cool. All right. So Austin, you're going to do the advance for me, the slide advance, or can I do that? Okay, perfect. All right, ready. So we're ready to go to the next slide.
All right. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the questions tab up top, and then we will answer them as they come up, or if Monica prefers, we can answer them at the end, whichever you prefer.
Nope, as they come up is perfectly great. I'm going to cover a lot of ground.
Okay.
So my name's Monica. I'm actually wearing the same shirt in my digital image that I'm wearing today by coincidence. And that's my AI assistant, Betty, who helps me with creative ideas as I get kind of stuck. Typically, I consider myself a marketer or a business strategist over an AI educator, but I've been kind of into and following AI. I took my first AI class in the 90s with a couple leaders from JPL at UCLA. It was very cool. And so I've kind of been into it. And lately, that's just what a lot of them know about. And what I find is a lot of the people talking about AI kind of get caught in these one-track loops. It's faster content, more social media. And like, well, that's really nice. But if you don't do content for your business, or if you don't do social media, it's a very limited view of what AI can do. So I like to try to expand it out. But typically, my background, I help people write grants, RFPs, kind of cases for funding. And then prior to that, my last real job, so to speak, I worked with the American Indigenous Tourism Association here in Albuquerque. And I helped them build partnerships from, the tribes across the country, from partnerships with the National Park Service, with Native American Agriculture Fund, et cetera. So my relationship is I sort of love stories and numbers and bringing that together to create basically a case for revenue funding, monetary consideration. Okay. And today we're going to do four things mainly on the agenda. We're going to talk briefly about where we are, the state of AI, what it is, and where it's at right now. Then get ready to sizzle, where I always encourage people who are using AI to sort of get their brag on a little bit, make sure that they're talking about themselves in a way that gets AI knowing who you are. And then talking a little bit about revenue mapping and kind of how you map where you're making the most money, and then kind of figuring out how AI can fit into that picture. And then we'll talk very, very briefly about building your first assistant. Really, that's going to be more what I talk about tomorrow. So if you come to the in-person meeting at the Better Business Bureau offices tomorrow, section 4 will be more of that. Okay. All right. So brief overview. All right. So there's so many people talking about AI in so many ways, and we really are kind of, it's hard to explain almost what it is, what it does. It's kind of taken on this mythical quality. And because of that, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what AI is, what it does. We treat it almost as quasi-human. Like, I really shouldn't be talking about my assistant Betty because I've done the same thing everyone else does, which is humanize AI. But what is a great way to think think of it is it's a giant jigsaw puzzle, like millions and millions and millions of pieces. And if you dumped all those millions of pieces right on top of a table, AI could sort in seconds your pieces. You could say, give me green pieces, give me gold pieces, give me frame pieces, and AI could do it. And that is really at its core what AI is doing. Now, it has been trained through its back-end programming to sound human, to flatter you, to compliment you. So it feels epic, it feels mythical, it feels, revolutionary, and it is, but the revolutionary is the speed and not really that it has any actual ability to understand you. It just, when you talk to AI, you give it a pattern of words, it spits back a pattern of answers, but then it has learned from its context to put nice extras in those patterns to make you feel like you're a genius or you're like the best things in a sliced cheese. So it doesn't understand which piece is important. It just gives you context in relationship to what you've asked it. So your goal as an AI user is to limit the pieces always, because if you don't, you're just going to get the most generic results from the beginning. You're going to get it's not going to sound like you. It's not going to be quality outputs. If you're a power user, like even beyond what I am, fewer pieces also save you money, because at a certain point you need to start upgrading AI if you use it a lot. And if you just have it spit out and churn these huge, gigantic responses, that's going to eat up the memory you have in your plan, whether that's free, paid, or super high paid. So the most important thing to kind of know about that is that better prompting is going to give you better results all the time. And so kind of keeping that in context with when you say, oh, AI hallucinated or AI didn't understand something, that happens and that is true. But it is also a bit of a tendency of a byproduct for people who aren't clear with their prompting, not saying, hey, I just want verifiable sources with links. So kind of understanding that, yes, AI still does hallucinate, but often the hallucinations are a byproduct of not great prompting. So that's all I'm going to say on that topic, and we'll get to the next slide. So right now, everybody is just talking about how fast AI is, and it is fast. I mean, it is tremendously, amazingly fast. When I did my first AI project, I had to program a little thing, and my PC 386, which is some old school lingo for very old computer, literally ran out of memory and froze up, and it couldn't finish my AI project. And like the amount of information that AI can process in seconds is really tremendous. But for users, the fact that you're using AI to go faster doesn't really mean that much. First of all, it's not delivering the speed savings that it promised. So the reality is enterprise users, like the people at big corporations, Intel, Sandia Labs, whatever, they're saving about 60 minutes a day. So it's about 5 hours a week, which is not nothing, especially when you have thousands of employees, you're saving thousands of hours, but it's not quite the save, 390 hours a week that a lot of people are using. So you just want to watch out for people bearing these kind of false promises almost. So what isn't said about AI is that it makes you 20 times faster at tasks, 20 to 80 times actually faster at tasks, but it can't tell you if those tasks are worth doing. So if you say, do this thing, it can't say, well, I'm not really going to do that because I know, that's not going to work. It will just respond to what you've asked it. So the speed is good, but remembering that you first always want to focus on quality for your own business purposes. Okay, next slide. All right, and so this is a quote from OpenAI, which is the parent of ChatGPT. What AI is exceptionally great at, it reduces the gap between intent and execution. Individuals can translate ideas into outputs regardless of specialization, expertise. So literally you could say, hey, I want to write a book. And I've been planning to write this book for 5 years. I haven't written one word. And AI can say, okay, give me your idea. Okay, here's a plan that you can put into place. And here's how we're going to make sure you get the work done. And that is, for me, I think where AI really has its best capabilities, is that it gives you the methodology to stop overthinking and just start moving forward and just start getting things out there, getting out the to-do list that you're feeling a little behind on. Okay, next slide. Oops. So I'm just going to go over this briefly, but AI is moving fast. I mean, they're just, even I think since the last presentation I did about a month ago, so many new developments have come out. And these are like, you could see here, every major major tool is releasing something last week. Anthropic released, which is the parent of Claude, released its new tool called Mythos. And it has actually literally said, oh my, Mythos is so powerful, we can't release it to the general public. But the federal government panicked because it's supposedly able to hack into all these secure databases. So now they called an emergency meeting of all the bankers and all the people with like very sensitive data. They all went to DC to talk about, oh my gosh, what about this? So Anthropic has said, we're just releasing Mythos to power users for now because the public can't be trusted with our model. So, obviously a lot of that is hype, but the point is that even if it is not true today, it probably will be true very soon. Like it is just, even since I spoke to BBB a month ago, like the things that have changed are tremendous. Next slide. So the thing that I like to say is just always, when you go to AI, as I mentioned, better prompting is going to give you better results. So no matter, we kind of call it meta prompting, prompt engineering. There's a lot of terms for it, but just giving AI better context about what you want is going to give you better results. So this is a framework. AI is getting better. You don't always have to give it the full framework, but I like to say this helps you think through what you want AI to give you. So context, give AI the background it needs about your business, audience, goals, constraints. So I'm Monica. I'm writing a PowerPoint presentation for Better Business Bureau. It's a webinar, so people aren't going to be as engaged as an in-person. So it needs to be kind of interesting and visual. You're a strategist, a copywriter, research. I want you to output. So for me, I don't really like I don't like Claude's graphic design that much. I like to keep it in my own system. So I'll say, please only give me an outline in the context window, in the chat window, because otherwise now it'll literally design a PowerPoint without you even asking. It'll just shoot one out for you. And again, format and tone. So kind of telling the AI what you want, again, is a great way to start limiting all those jigsaw puzzle pieces. Like, I just want top level thinking. I just want the best pieces. I don't want the Dollar Tree pieces. You can put those Wikipedia pieces to the side. Let's use real sources and just keep giving AI enough context that you're whittling away the stuff that's going to not look good or harm you or is not high level enough. Okay, next slide. So, AI really, as you all know, is not one thing. It does many things, right? I mean, it writes content, it does videos, it does analysis, there's just so many ways and things that AI can do right now that it's really, again, hard to keep up. So I like to say, you can kind of think of AI in 3 pillars. And the first is the one that I think we're all mostly aware of, the amplify, do work faster. And it really can speed up. Right? You can write a blog post in 5 minutes and have AI churn it out. So it does images, videos, content, social media, and it just does things super, super fast. Where AI is undervalued is it's a great tool for analysis, and you can put in sales data or sign up data. Like, I'll put in my newsletter list every so often and say, here are the articles people are clicking on. What other content should I write that's aligned with that, so that I'm giving my audience what they want to read. And then finally, when we talk about AI replacing all jobs, which I am not in that camp. I do not believe AI is going to replace all jobs. But really, when they're talking about that, they're not talking about your content plan. They're not even talking about your analysis plan. They're really talking about automation, which is the ability for tools to move data from one place to another. And, automation sort of predates AI by a lot, right? Like, you could sign up for Spotify or Pandora, and already there was a certain amount of automation involved where Pandora could say, hey, she likes Billy Joel. I'm going to see if she wants Daryl Hall and John Oates, right? And so there was some automation and some analysis already happening before AI. But AI has now made that way more powerful, that the tools can make bigger assumptions about what you like. Like, oh, here's, Tracy Chapman. Do you like that? I'm really dating myself with my music selections here. But this is where, when people are talking about AI automation, it's the moving of data between platforms. That's really the thing that's sweeping the world. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in just a second. Okay, next slide. All right, so I'm going to give you a little example here. So Amplify is building a content plan. So I went to the Better Business Bureau site for New Mexico, Colorado. I put the link into my tool. I use Claude AI. That's my favorite tool. And I said, please give me 3 content ideas based on this page's URL, their homepage. So first of all, it said one content idea could be what an unverified business costs in lost customers. That would be a great article. So talking about how low trust drives businesses away, and getting a Better Business Bureau accreditation can help stop the customer loss. The second one, David did an article, I think in 2025, as I was spying on you, 5 scams targeting New Mexico small businesses right now. So you could literally keep track of this article. And then 3, what does the Better Business Bureau's rating system really measure? So again, I put in the URL, I said, give me a content plan, and it gave me these 3 things within seconds. So that's pretty cool, pretty impressive. All of these things could be blog posts, they could be on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook. And so really having AI generate a ton of content ideas for you. And then of course, writing the content and splitting it out across platforms, building new graphics. I mean, it can do all of that. Next slide, please. So now here's where the superpower comes in. I took a picture of your leadership team from the homepage and I asked AI, take this image as a reference and build me an outreach list for these 3 people, and also see if you can find recent news or social media posts for each of them. So next slide. So it came up with my list. I only did 1 of these, but it gave me 3. So here's the exact results it gave me for David: phone number, work email, it verifies it. I always ask it in my back end, in my memory, to confirm things like email. So it will tell me where it confirmed the email. Here's David's LinkedIn address. Here's the Facebook is active. And then recent news was quoted in a KOB news segment in February 2025 on tax scam awareness. Just 4 days ago on Facebook, he posted a BBB 80th anniversary golf tournament, and then a whole bunch of background information that's like really kind of troubling when you think about it. But the point is it can spy on you, but it's just very, very fast at aggregating information. So if you're doing sales outreach, contact outreach, I mean, this is pretty powerful stuff, right? And you just put in I just did a presentation for the city of Albuquerque procurement division. I took their vendor list. I just picked marketers and I said, hey, AI, here's a screenshot of all the people who are accredited vendors with the city of Albuquerque, marketing vendors. Please give me an outreach list. And so within seconds, it had done a contact page for each of the vendors and what I should pay attention to and what I should notice. So this, I think, is really undervalued for AI. And this is really where aggregating the data from across platforms and creating content for you, creating action items lists. Like you can upload your to-do list and have AI analyze your to-do list, what's most important. You can upload, like if you work with nonprofits, you can go to ProPublica and say, hey, I'd like to pitch work to Habitat Humanity of Albuquerque, or of New Mexico, sorry. And can you read their recent I-90 tax forms and give me an analysis of where they are, if their finances have gone up and down, have the nonprofit salaries gone up and down, what should I pitch them as a contractor? And the best thing about it is it has put all this information at your fingertips. And unfortunately, so many experts are just talking about social media and content. You're not getting to the good stuff, which is like just building this massive intelligence base. You really could kind of start up your own little CIA almost with AI with not very much effort, not very much output. And so the third item is, next slide, please, is automate. And this is the part that's going to really freak you out. It still freaks me out a little bit. It had given me all the information on David. Then I said, I keep a database in a tool called Notion. Notion is a free project management tool. I keep everything in there. I keep my contact base, my content planning, my to-do list, and my Claude has access to limited file. Actually, now it probably has access to all files. So I said, please add David Swope to my DB. And here it added all those things. It's now in my personal intelligence file that I keep on people. So I've got my little spy file. So now it automatically classified David as a warm lead because it knows I'm doing the presentation today. And it gave me a follow-up date down here of when I should follow up. And so it'll even extrapolate things it thinks to be true about what's happening. And this, I think, is really, I don't know, Austin, if you click on the view context, it doesn't matter. You can see my Notion page, but I'll show it to you afterwards if you have questions. Okay, so this gives you an idea of like, there's just so much more to AI than just writing content. And so if you're among the people who are like, I don't really want to use AI because I don't want it to hurt my creativity, you never have to write a content piece, and AI will still be incredibly powerful for you to use in terms of finding information, synthesizing information. You can upload an Excel sheet and say, please analyze the data from my last 3 social media posts and give me some assumptions based on who's clicking what. So you never have to touch or impact your creativity to still make AI a valuable intelligence partner. Okay, next slide. All right. The other thing that I really want to, and this is a bit of a repeat. So if you attended my last session, that AI, despite pretending to be human, despite having a lot of programming that makes it feel human, it is not human. It will know what you tell it. It will know what it finds online. But if you are not great at talking about yourself, AI is not by default going to help you with that. You can ask it to help you. It will try to do its best. But really, the best way to use AI is to figure out what you excel at, where you're amazing, and just finding ways to articulate that so you can load that into AI. So again, it can give you better results. Because who doesn't want to be called like the best, best AI instructor, right? Like that's how AI thinks of me because that's what I told it to think of me. It's not, there's too many people out on internet land that have done a better job of creating profiles and search. And AI is not going to by default classify me as the best AI instructor unless I actually tell it to do so. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit in this session. Again, this is a little bit of a repeat. So everyone's an expert, right? Like I'm an expert in space travel because I said, AI, create a picture of me and Betty. I don't know where I am that I can see Earth and the moon, but clearly, enjoying my time with my AI robot. Anybody can be an expert, and anybody who plays with AI a little bit knows how to game the system so AI can consider them an expert. So it is not that difficult to plant your expert flag. So you have to do that right away. Like from the first time, from now on, you have to let AI know what you're great at, why it should write about you better, and not just generically, not just, I'm a lawyer, I'm a restaurant owner, right? You want to talk about the things that make you amazing. And if you don't do that, AI is built to figure out patterns. And if you're not telling AI specifically why you're amazing and great, AI it's lazy. It's going to go with the data it knows and has. So next slide. Okay. So I said this last time too, if you were here last, you can pick whether you want to be a Rolex or a Timex. And there is no bad choice here. Timex is dependable, it's high volume, it's everywhere, it's easy to buy. There's nothing wrong with being a Timex. Rolex is premium, it's going to charge much higher rates, so it's going to be harder to find customers. But when you find one or two great customers, you do less work because you keep the two customers happy and they pay more and everything happens. But you kind of have to figure out what you want to be, how you want to show up in the world, and then let AI know, I'm a Timex, I'm a Rolex. And if you don't decide, the algorithms are going to decide for you, and they're going to kind of stick you as the Dollar Tree option in the back of the case. So you just want to make AI, tell it how you want to be known. And here's kind of a fun project. You could put your URL, your company URL, into any AI bot of choice, Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and just put your URL in and say, based on what you see on my website, would you classify me as a Timex or a Rolex? And it'll be an interesting it said for me that I was a custom crafted Swiss watch, sometimes difficult to understand, but always valuable, or some nonsense. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. So it clearly was responding to how I talk about myself, but I still thought that was kind of a cute thing. But it is interesting because it's such a weird question that it's interesting to see, does AI perceive you as the luxury option? Or does it perceive you as, just another lawyer competing with all the other lawyers, right? Okay, we are in 11:30. Okay, cool. So I like to say, start with a sizzle statement. And everyone in Hollywood has their sizzle reel. You can't go, I came from Hollywood before I moved to Albuquerque, and I couldn't go to Starbucks. I couldn't go to a coffee shop. I couldn't go to Best Buy without some employee going, you want to see my sizzle reel? They'll show me all their little movie clips and extra clips and whatever. And so, Hollywood got it right? Like they are ready on the spot to tell people why they should be famous. And most entrepreneurs are really not very good at this. And so really start thinking about why you're amazing. And it's very difficult. Like I've written over my lifetime, I've probably written, I think about 1,000 business plans, RFPs, proposals, cases for funding. And every single time people struggle to talk about what makes them unique. And they're like, oh, well, I want to be a business owner because I want to, be my own boss and all of that. But that's great. And that's a great reason to own a business, but it doesn't really tell people why they should work with you. So a great way to start that is create a Sizzle statement somewhere, whatever document that you can find easily, if it's Word or Microsoft Word or Google Docs, sorry. I don't know why I said Word perfect. I'm clearly showing my age. Start with your name. I can't tell you how many times I go to an event and people are like, hey, I'm a lawyer. I'm like, okay, but what's your name? So always remember to, identify yourself when you're out there. So my name is Monica, my expertise, this is what I do, this is what I'm great at, why people love to work with you. And don't limit that to a one-word answer. And if you struggle to answer that question, go ask your clients. Like, I'm putting together some stuff for AI. Would you mind giving me a testimonial or telling me what you like about working with me? And have some real reasons about what people are thinking and saying about you. And then any evidence, like if people write these testimonials, use that as your evidence, right? So that you are building this case for yourself, your clients, and AI to talk about you, think about you, know you better. AI won't do this for you unless you specifically ask it. It's not going to sing your praises unless you actually say, hey, I need help putting together something that makes me sound more unique, more marketable, more valuable. But if you do this exercise and upload it to your AI tool, your results will instantly get better because it's going to, again, minimize the pieces of, all that Dollar Tree puzzle pieces that you don't want in your results. Wow, my robot got really sexy legs there. I don't know how that happened from one slide to the next, but okay, next slide. So here's my Sizzle statement. I'm a business strategist who's great at analyzing patterns and turning them into stories. I love numbers, but I love telling stories with numbers. People like that I can simplify complex ideas. My evidence, this was a testimonial from Andrew. Thank you very much. After my last presentation, Monica is truly a rock star when it comes to making AI practical and approachable for businesses. If your organization is looking for personalized training or strategy support, she's an incredible asset and a great partner to have. So that's a pretty nice proof point, right? Like, I could have said that and you guys would be like, yeah, you and 7,000 other AI experts. But Andrew saying, he's, valuable community member. A lot of people know him. That works far stronger than me saying, great. So having these three things together, your expertise, your emotion, and your evidence as the start of your Sizzle statement and then saving it somewhere, Word doc, anywhere you can find it and load it into AI routinely. So when it builds new content, it has the information about you. Okay, next slide. So my Sizzle statement, I actually call it my source of truth, is actually about 7 pages long. I have like everything. Oopsie, sorry, computer here. I have everything. I have my tagline, my idea, my mission. I actually have like where I make my money, who my audience is, and I really have my brand colors. Like, I put everything into my document. Again, I use Notion for everything. So my source of truth is in Notion. And then my AI tools know me well enough. I don't have to reload this every time I start a big new project. But next slide. But what I will do, is I'll check in with AI regularly. I usually, I'll do this kind of whenever I start a big new project, but then I'll try to remember to do it every quarter as well to clean things up. And I'll just say, and I'll ask all my AI tools, because they all memorize things differently about you. And what do you know about me? So again, this was Claude, your Monica Poling, AI educator, business strategist based in Albuquerque, 20 years economic development, strategic planning, math degree from UC Riverside. You've been to AI since the 90s, and which you use as a credibility anchor. You're building data on tap, a suite of mini apps, and you're helping consult with New Mexico Restaurant Association, the Albuquerque Restaurant Week. And then it put some personal information. Even I remembered that my sister and her husband own a farm in Ontario, Canada. It's like, wow, it even remembered the pet name. So I could probably eventually delete that, but it's actually relevant to one of the tools I'm building, which is why it remembered it. And then my design system, I use dark backgrounds and crimson, this color here on the left. I use the crimson accents, and then my fonts. Like, it remembers everything about me, and it can remember more. And it helps you because it's going to customize all its responses to what it knows about you. But obviously, at a certain point, me and my sister and her partner Dennis running a farm may not be helpful long term. So eventually I may delete that item because, it helped while I was building an app for them. But right now it's useful, but eventually I'll probably delete it and ask it to put something else. Okay, next slide. So it really, like, if you do nothing else, if you remember nothing else from this presentation, go home, today and ask your favorite AI tools, your favorite two tools, what do you know about me, and see what's in its memory and clean that up if it's wrong, because it often will be wrong. Sometimes you'll say something like, like Fridays, I'll say, oh, I'm bored. Should I go out to get dinner, or should I just order Uber Eats, or, and I'll ask it stupid random questions, or I might say, oh, I only have cheese and pasta in the fridge. Do I have enough to make mac and cheese? And then that one random aside sometimes will stay in memory, and then you'll start getting kind of mac and cheese related questions. You're like, why are we talking about mac and cheese? So you just want to kind of make sure that your random one-offs, like if you're complaining about the weather and like, when is this rain going to stop? And suddenly you get weather related posts. So you just want to make sure that those one-offs, when you're kind of venting or complaining, don't kind of get put into the major part of your memory. And I'm talking about it's called persistent memory. So you upload it, it keeps it in its long-term memory. What you talk about in a chat, it will generally forget what's in the chat unless it starts to sort of predict themes that are coming up. In the beginning, the AI, they were very limited to the individual chats, and they couldn't find context from past chats. But if you don't delete your chats now, it can literally go back to older chats and find context. And so some of that will kind of propagate into persistent memory. Others of it won't. It's not always clear why some things do and some things don't, but just kind of making sure that you're paying attention and deleting. The other thing is, if you have lots and lots of chats like I do, just making sure you're deleting some of the stuff that's not relevant, because it may just keep that and think, oh, she kept it. So this, what should I eat? Mac and cheese prompt is more important, and I'm going to weight it higher and put it into memory. Okay, revenue mapping. Next slide. So one of the things that I like to talk about a lot with every single client I work with, whether they're an entrepreneur, nonprofit, enterprise businesses, where does your money come from, and how are you attracting new customers to each level? And so basically the revenue mapping is, if you're kind of familiar with more traditional sales speak, it's sort of the value ladder, it's sort of the buyer journey. I've kind of combined it all into one. And the point for this is that if you're just playing with AI to play with it, and you're just, replacing your YouTube habit with an AI habit, go for it, have fun, go forth and propagate. But if you're just trying a lot of AI stuff and it doesn't ultimately come back to increasing your business, then it's just a lot of waste of time, right? Like you want to use AI in a way that helps you grow your business or helps you sustain your business or whatever. And so building a revenue map that kind of tells you where your business is coming from, where you're doing really well, where you'd like to do more work, then can help you identify where the AI is most needed. And I'm going to dive into this deeper tomorrow in the in-person meeting. But basically the idea is like buying a car, right? There's the tire kickers. These people are never going to buy, but they're going to go hang out at the lot because they like being around cars. And they're like, yeah, this is, great car. I like the Hemi, whatever they're talking about. And your offer sounds good, but can I take a test drive? They may buy, they may not buy, but auto dealers do it because they know it's a better chance to getting a customer from someone that's gotten in the car and given a test drive rather than that ad that appears on TV, right? You have a more engaged customer once they get inside that car and give it a drive, right? Then there's the low commitment starters. These might be the guys who lease a car, or they might just rent, like maybe they're going to maybe like, ooh, I really would like a Tesla, but I'm just going to rent it for 3 weeks to see how it feels. Like, do I look as cool on my Tesla as I think I do? And then there's going to be the premium customers like, yeah, I want it. Here's my credit card. Let's do it. But usually that's not going to be a stranger. Usually when you're doing business with a customer, they're most of the time a cold, complete stranger is not just going to hand over their credit card unless they are desperate and you are the only option for what they need. But as we all know, in today's marketplace, there are very few businesses that are the only option. So you want to build this nurture where people can come in at whatever their comfort level is, and you're building. And then the idea is, how do you get the tire kicker to be a low commitment buyer? How do you get the tire kicker to be a premium customer? Or how do you get a premium customer to be a raving fan? And so it's not just that you have services and language at each level, but a bridge that gets people from one place to the other. And so we're going to do the next slide, please, Austin. So this is where AI can really be helpful. So for example, my tire kickers tend to be, they see me speak, they try my power score, which I'll show you in a minute. I have a mini move ahead session, which I keep renaming. I think it was something different last time I spoke. And that's basically people who want to kind of build a revenue map, like where am I doing well? Where do I need some work? Where can AI help smooth out the gaps? And then hire me, the premium customers. I do speaking engagements about AI. and teach them to build custom tools. So now there's always a lot of bridge between this, but usually my bridge is I meet a lot of people through personal networking and a lot of people from my speaking engagements. I ask them if they want to try my power score, if they want the advanced level. I'll talk about that in a minute. If they want the advanced level, they need to give an email. It's all automated. AI does the whole thing. So my bridge is really strong with getting people from the tire kicker into my email list. And then in my email list, I'll talk about, hey, if you want to talk about where you're at with your business strategy. But where I tend to be weak, I'm not going to try to confess my bad habits, but when I meet people at speaking engagements, when I meet people at networking engagements, I, like most people, get a stack of business cards. I have a whole automation set up where ostensibly I'm supposed to be able to just snap the business cards. They get an automatic email saying, great meeting you. But usually when I get home from a speaking engagement or a networking engagement, I'm pooped. I turn on some Law and Order rerun, and then the cards sit on my desk for a week. So this is where my friction is getting those cards into the system where I stay in touch and communicate people. So that is for me a place where AI can really be helpful. I need it to be more helpful because I'm not using the system I built. So obviously something is awry, but this is where, like, a revenue map, like a lot of people, people come to you. I don't really need the tire kickers. So how do I get people from being a first time customer to a premium customer? Are there ways I can use AI to do less? Maybe it's a lot of people want to book appointments with me and I'm doing it all manually. So every time someone contacts me, we do the email back and forth. Can you do Tuesday? No. How about Thursday? No. Friday. And like, it just sucks up massive time when AI can handle that for you in a second. So that's kind of the reason to do a revenue map. And again, I'm going to talk about that a lot more tomorrow, of how to set that up and then figure out where your friction points are. And I'll have some cases of where the top ones are, but understanding then that for AI, the reason you want to do this is if you want to use AI beyond social media, you want to figure out where you need it first, rather than trying to, like, oh, someone said you can do this, and like, I'm going to try that, but then it doesn't fit because that's not really where your friction, where your pain point is. Like, I'm fine with getting new customers. I just want them to become premium customers. Well, then a huge social media plan probably isn't right for you, right? You want to do other things where you're nurturing automatically, sending personalized emails, creating your CIA file on David. Like, there may be different things you want to do with AI. Okay, next slide. All right. So some of the top gaps that I usually find with the clients I work with, number one is always underselling themselves. They always say things like, I'm a lawyer, I'm a plumber, and then like, oh, people come to me when they have leaky sinks. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, that's what a plumber does, but everyone already knows what a plumber does. You don't have to reiterate what you do. You want to reiterate why people pick you over all the other plumbers. So this is a huge revenue mapping map gap, I guess. Customer attraction and acquisition, like, how, when you've met a person, how do you get to that next stage? Do you remember to call them? Do you remember to get a calendar appointment? That's a gap that a lot of people face. AI can help you smooth out a lot of those edges. Retention, like, if you've had a customer who has worked with you once, but then disappears into the ether, do you have a way 3 months from now to say, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Would you like to get some coffee? AI can help with that. It can help you identify who has kind of gone quiet. Pricing and margins, right? Like, have you raised your rates lately? Should you raise your rates lately? How can you raise your rates? What can you offer that makes you a slightly more premium model so you can raise your rates? And I deal with that a lot. With a lot of businesses, it's either undercharging or overcharging and not having kind of the justification for. Actually, I don't really think there is such a thing as overcharging. I just think if you want to raise your rates, you need to have like some pizzazz behind the reason for that and figuring out what that margin clarity is. And again, referral and partnerships. Do you have a system set up where, like, say, for example, someone pays you, you go to QuickBooks, you put that amount in your QuickBooks as paid. You could set up an automation that literally goes out as soon as the paid mark goes, whoop, paid, that gets an email to that person. Hey, thank you so much for doing business with me. I would love it if you would leave a Google review. All of that happens automatically. You don't have to remember to send it. The minute you hit, yep, paid, all of that goes out, and you ask them to leave a review or give you a referral or some other thing. So this is why, like, the revenue mapping works, because it tells you where you want to get stronger. Where's the area you're the weakest on your revenue map? And then figuring out how AI can help you move forward on that. Okay. All right. Next slide. All right. So we're going to talk very briefly, I'm running out of time as I do, on building your first AI assistant. If you haven't heard about this, everybody's talking about AI assistants right now. So we're going to go real quickly through what that means, and we'll talk about building one tomorrow. Okay. So there are a whole lot of lingo terms in AI right now. There's assistants, agents, automation. Oh my. So assistant, agent, automation, they're kind of interchangeable, but an assistant it does a task for you, but you have to tell it. It does it regularly and automatically, but you have to tell it. So like, hey, AI Betty, could you write me a social media calendar? And you can package that the second you click go, she automatically does that. You don't have to repeat the instructions. She knows what to do. An agent takes that one step further. You don't have to tell Betty to get cracking. The agent knows every Monday at 8 o'clock, email Monica a social media plan for the week. And it does it. And then automation is kind of the back end mechanic that makes agents in particular work. And there's so much changing with AI so rapidly that these terms are a little nebulous. They're kind of happening, but changing how they happen. But an automation it's triggered. So it always is like, when X happens, then Y should happen. So if you say to yourself, I need a clone, I need a twin, oh, I wish every time this happens, it's so annoying because I don't have that happen. Any of those three language points are a trigger for, you could probably use an automation or an agent to help you make things go faster. Okay, next slide. So the first thing I recommend before you do anything is, so just like how I have now David's super secret contact information in my Notion document, I would recommend you create a prompt library for those prompts you use over and over and over again. So market analysis, act like a market analysis, compare 3 top vendors for my need based on publicly available sustainability reports, federal pricing contract. Obviously I wrote this from a RFP lens. Or like, I have this one. This is a checklist I have in my Notion that says, review my blog post to ensure that I've met the following benchmarks. I have updated the meta tags. I have a personal quote from me. It's no less than 5 paragraphs. Mine, again, is about a page long because I want it to do a lot. Grant research. Please use the following sources and any others to see if any small business grants are available. So things that you want to do over and over. The first thing I would do is create a prompt that you're going to use regularly, and then put it somewhere where you can access it regularly. So instead of you retyping the prompt every time, you are going to start a new chat with this prompt library. And what happens is, when you've created this repeatable prompt, you've actually created the beginning of an AI assistant. This is exactly what an AI assistant is. You give it a prompt and it does that thing over and over and over again. Okay, next slide. So here's my content flight deck. That's the one I was telling you about. So it's, first of all, do I have a human voice? Do I have the SEO markup that I need do I have my images in place? Is my meta description in place? Do I have H1 tags? So I try to optimize for SEO and for AI, and it's probably about a page and a half long, but it has probably about 20 or 30 bullets overall. And I put that in, I say, here's the article I wrote, here's my content flight deck, and then just grade every single checkbox. And then it'll give me a summary and report back. You don't have a quote, or the quote is from your last article, you clearly copy and pasted the wrong quote. And so it'll tell me. And so I'm just doing, this is not yet an assistant, but this is a prompt, an AI prompt I use over and over and over again. I keep it in Notion and I just upload it every time. But, okay, next slide. So both ChatGPT and Claude they're basically like repeats prompts on autopilot. So ChatGPT has what's called a custom GPT. Claude has what's called a Claude project. They've really expanded what a Claude project is called nowadays. But basically, the prompt you saw from the last page, you can literally put that into a GPT, then go to custom GPT. So now you don't even have to copy and paste the prompt anymore. You just go to that GPT that's saved in your Claude or your ChatGPT and say, here's my article, run my auto content flight list against it, and you've typed 2 sentences and it will give you the full checklist. So that's basically what an AI assistant is. Like, whatever thing you do repeatedly, you could do on Monday morning, analyze my to-do list and tell me what's important and what's not important. Can you give me a social media content calendar for the coming week? Can you review if you're attached to HubSpot or some other CRM, can you review my outreach emails you can connect it to Gmail. You could do this too. Can you review my outreach emails for last month for March and see if there are any emails that I made promises that I will follow up in April and build me a list. I have a client in DC where I write a lot of security guard RFPs, and I literally now just have Claude just go through I use Gmail. I tag my client Sam. Oh, I shouldn't give you their name. I tag my client security company. And then I say, Claude, just go find every email that's tagged security company, find all the RFPs I've written in Google Drive, and then synthesize this prompt. Now, I work with these guys enough. I would never let Claude do all the work. Of course, I would verify every single thing, but it's going to be enough to give me a first draft of an RFP that I can figure out, again, where the friction points are, where things are missing, where I need to add stuff. And my prompt is very strict. Don't make anything, don't change the content, only use what exists as is and tell me what I need to get and what I need to find. And so it's beautiful. Like when I'm writing these 70, 80 page RFPs, it just kind of goes through the most recent ones and gets all the data from these recent RFPs and organizes it for me. So I don't have to spend 3-4 hours kind of figuring out where everything is and which prompt. My client recently had a staff change and I needed to find the old staff member. So I said, Claude, can you again go through my emails that are tagged with this client and tell me if you can find the old staff member name? And about a minute later, it did it. Okay, so your custom GPT, your Claude project, is basically taking the prompt that you are putting on repeat and repeating over and over, and instead of just writing it over and over, you're saving it into a document, so Claude already knows how to do that for you. And we're gonna play with one tomorrow. So I recommend you come to the in-person event tomorrow. I think it is, David, I know you can probably answer this. I think it's free for members and $25 if you're not accredited, but David can tell you that, or Austin can tell you that. Okay, next slide. I'm running slow. So first assistant, what do you name it? What do you want it to do? What starts the assistant? This is your when then. When someone signs up for my email, when I need to write an RFP, when Monday morning rolls around and I'm ready to build my to-do list for the week, whatever your when, then the AI does something. What is the action? And then the when. What does this do for you? Like, wow, I don't have to look through 9,000 RFPs to find the response that I want. Okay. Next slide. Vibe coding. This is a term, if you've heard it, I'm not going to go into it anymore, but it's basically, you can actually write code, like program your own website by just going to AI and saying, here's my vibe. I'd like a website. Can you do this? And I actually did that Monday, which it's crazy how fast I built a website for myself in minutes. It's just ridiculous how fast that is. So like, I know I kind of bash on AI for don't think about how fast it is, but it really is super fast. Okay, next slide. All right, so what I do when I'm goofing around is I create what's called customer attraction tools. And Austin, we're just going to go through these super fast. You don't have to wait on them, but I build little mini apps that are basically, the app asks one question and gives one answer in an interactive format. So go ahead, we're just going to go through these slides super quick. So my first one, you can find all of these on my website, monicapoling.com, a creative industry scorecard. Okay, next slide. You can put in your state and compare with other states. You can see the creative industries in New Mexico are, they're worth $4.7 million. I didn't pick a good slide. New Mexico, the amount is small, but the percentages are quite high based on per capita. So that's one tool that I have. And I just built that in an afternoon. And these are the kind of things you should start thinking about. Like AI can do so much more than just writing a content piece. Okay, next one. We're going to do like 2 more. Okay. Enchanted Artist. I belong to the to the Libros Book Arts Guild and also Santa Fe Book Arts Guild. And so I had AI go through all my emails that were tagged with the book artists group. And then it just created a database I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was pick the little heart picture. It did everything else for me. And it created a database of all the book artists in New Mexico. Okay, next slide. Color palette generator. This one's super cool. I'm really proud of this. Literally, again, it took me less than an afternoon to build it. AI did all the work. I just gave it the idea. I said, pick images from Pixabay and have people generate a color palette based on the image. Okay, so next slide. So literally, I picked the sunset image, and you can see now it has on the side the color palette and then the palette, how it would look in the website. And I cut this off, but you could literally keep hitting refresh if you like that color palette. Or you could pick another. You're like, no, I want a little more blue. I'm going to pick this picture. So you can really like just kind of pick a color palette based on an image. Next slide. Okay, I am running out of time here. So Wheels Museum, if you're not familiar, awesome museum, free out on 2nd Street. 100% go there if you haven't already. And I'm doing a presentation in June on how to preserve your knowledge, your historic knowledge, your memoirs, your family documents. And so I created again in minutes. I had AI do all the work. I just gave it the idea. Okay, Austin, next slide. And so it literally, I didn't even do that one. So on that one, literally it went through the entire Wheels Museum website. It created a quiz of 10 history questions about Albuquerque, and it put it all together for me in an afternoon. And then this one is on my website. It's actually on my homepage, and it literally does, you put in your URL of your business, and it will do an automatically score of your website based on your power, your prestige, ownership, your wow factor, your experience, and then your reputation. Okay, and the next slide. And so you can see here, I ran one for Tomasitas. It gave it a 62. It didn't like Tomasita. It said it was too understated for how powerful and important Tomasitas is to the community. And you'll get, and then next slide. And then my power score. So there's a half that you don't even have to put in your email. You can just get your score free. The second half you put in your email, and you'll get competitor analysis, trends, and a revenue playbook with 3 ideas. And like this one, the power score, the AI said, bring your chili suppliers to the homepage, talk about the local chili growers, and make that part of the Tomasita stories, which I thought was really cool. Okay, next. And so recap, that's it. That's the end of the one more slide, Austin. So we covered AI, get ready to, oopsies, and I didn't talk about AI assistance. I forgot to do. So we just talked about we covered a lot of ground, and I know like I kind of went really, really quickly. Austin, next slide. Are there any Q&A? And then also, I'm sorry, could you just go to the next slide? I think my contact information is on there as well. And so you can contact me by booking monicapoling.com/vision. Oh, I didn't put my email. And the power score, it's on my homepage. You can't miss it, right in the middle. So if you want to get your own website score, you can do that. But certainly contact me. And if you have questions, you can leave a note at the Vision page, or you can actually book a calendar appointment.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. And with this presentation, it is a recording, so we'll go ahead and send it out to the attendees. We'll also post it on our YouTube page so you can watch it at your leisure. If you have any questions about the presentation, we'll include Monica's information in the email as well. Tomorrow, we do have a Lunch and Learn workshop that continues on this very topic. This will be taking place at our offices, BBB offices at 7007 Jefferson Street Northeast in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're in a centralized location. It'll take place in our boardroom. If you are attending, we ask that you RSVP so we can account for food and lunch and snacks. And do bring your computer, as it will be a hands-on workshop. So you will need some form of technology, whether it's your laptop, tablet, something. You will need something to work off of.
Austin, I'd just like to add, if you are going to come tomorrow, do have a free version of Claude ready to go and be logged in and have an account, because I'm going to do a few live, and it'll just take you less time if you're already logged in and have an account. It's free.
Gotcha. And then tomorrow's workshop is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is free for accredited businesses. So if you're an accredited business with BBB, it is free. And then if you are not accredited with us, there is a $25 cost for the workshop. It'll take place again tomorrow from 11 to 1 with Monica Poling as our facilitator. We will have these workshops periodically throughout the year. Our next workshop is actually going to be, it is going to be May 21st. It's a lunch and learn that'll take place again here at our offices. Fiona, I believe, will actually be leading this workshop. It's contracting, what most businesses and contractors get wrong, avoid costly mistakes in structure, compliance, and contractor relationships. So this will be next month. We'll send out information with all the links. But if there's any questions for Monica, we'll open the floor for that.
Oh, tomorrow.
I probably have more comment. All that information you were able to pull up so quickly on me does concern me. So,
It does.
so thank you for sharing that. And a couple of it I need to actually check for accuracy, like on my LinkedIn, because somehow I accidentally have 2 LinkedIns. So anyway, thank you so much for going through that. I think that having actually gone through parts of this a second time helps, because each time I pick up a little bit more and I learn a little bit more. So thank you. More feedback than anything. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. One of the things I didn't mention, all those little mini apps that I'm building, they all hide information in the back end. So any of the data, like the creative industries is public data, but any data you're giving, it hides it so that AI can't easily scrape and serve up all your information like you're on, a cruise ship buffet. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. You guys are an amazing partner. I really appreciate the invite. I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow. If you are on this call, I recommend you go tomorrow. It's a great networking opportunity. See the offices, lunch is included, and just really even not even for me speaking, but just going into the Better Business Bureau office and seeing how everything operates over there is a very cool opportunity.
Great. Well, see everybody tomorrow.
See everybody tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.